Good evening, and thank you for joining us at Calling City Hall. I've got a couple really good guests this evening, and I'm excited to have them with us. It's always nice to have our council president, Steve Brown, with us. So, President Brown, thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure to have you always. You always have a lot of good input and good questions. So,
what do you need? You're buttering me up.
I'm buttering him up already. So we don't know what we need yet, but we'll find something we need from Council President Brown. And we also have with us Logan McDougall. Logan is the Video Services / PIO of the City of Pocatello, and it's great to have Logan here. He gives us a lot of really good insight on
PIO. Public Information
Officer. Yeah. See, that's why we got President Brown here. We've already
fills in the blanks.
Well, you know, acronyms are very common in government.
They are. Oftentimes people don't know exactly what we're talking about. So thank you very much. But as part of his responsibility as the video service, or probably more so the Public Information Officer, we have received some very negative press in the past about our flag, our city flag.
Very negative press.
In fact, I believe that there were 4 million, or was it 3 million hits on the TED Talks from Roman Mars.
We are now up to over 4 million on that video that gave us the infamy of having the worst flag in North America. That study's actually been around for about 13, 14 years. I believe it was in 2004. So when the original study from the North American Vexillological Association highlighted our now infamous flag, but Roman Mars back in 2015, he did it very publicly, and now it is widely known that our current flag is terrible.
Infamous is like more than famous, right? I heard that in a movie once.
More than famous, but in the wrong way.
That's right. Well, although, I don't know, we have had a lot of publicity from it, and Pocatello, Idaho, of all places, has we've literally been put on the map in a global sense because of this.
Right.
And so we decided to do something about it, and we had some citizens that said, look, let's fix this. We want to go from worst to first, and we want to do some really neat things. And quite frankly, I thought they were crazy. I thought, oh boy, come on, let's not worry about it. And then we had a couple more citizens, and so we put an ad hoc committee together. And absolutely an unbelievable amount of participation and people excited about it. It was one of those things that I just completely underestimated, and so it's exciting. I'm really excited now about our city flag and what the opportunities and the ability of at least moving up the ranks from worst to.
You know, I think a lot of people have complaints about where they live, or I mean, just frustrations, whatever it is. There's always some negative undertone there, but really when it boils down to it, the average person has great pride of their hometown.
Absolutely.
And the colors, not to make a pun on the flag thing, but the colors really have shown through in this process of participation and people wanting to have a better Pocatello, a better flag, and a better community where we live.
It's so true. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's been very interesting to go through these entries so far and see some common themes show up. Obviously, the outdoors is a very, very big one that has shown through, and where I'm at in going through these flags, because we're getting ready to put a display together at the Marshall Public Library of all the flags, and seeing what these children think of their community, what they like about it, and what Pocatello means to them. Some kids, I mean, there was some that they talked about their favorite restaurant, but there's some who really went deep and really thought about what Pocatello is, what it means to them, and what they'd like to see their community be going into the future.
I like how you say some kids, because we have a number, and I'm sure you're going to talk about how many submissions we've had, but there's a number of submissions from kids in elementary school on up, and there's actually some elementary school ideas that are at the top of the list.
Right.
And so it's awesome to see that participation right here in Pocatello, and I don't want to jump ahead of us by any means, because Logan's got a great presentation that he's going to share with us, and we're going to talk about some things. But just the idea that from I would say first grade on up to, I don't know how old the oldest submission was, but it's literally covered the entire spectrum of people, and I think throughout the world.
Right, and that's a good segue. I mean, we received 709 submissions from around the world. So that's 26 countries represented in this contest, and 31 American states were represented.
Amazing to me that there are 9 countries?
26 countries.
26 countries that have an interest in Pocatello, Idaho, enough to actually take the time to design a flag and submit it. That's incredible. Right. Tell me that we're not dealing with a global.
Well, that's a global family, that's for sure.
There's no exactly, it's been a global effort, and the original thought from the committee was that we didn't want to exclude people who aren't from here and also who have moved away. Say they went to Idaho State for 4 years and then moved away but fell in love with the place. We wanted those people to be involved. By opening it up that wide, though, we invited the world to kind of come to our door and take a look and see what Pocatello is, and go from there. You can definitely tell the ones that are from outside the area on what their themes were and whatnot. Those ones kind of have a theme usually around the old flag. And kind of reimagining that old flag as a proper flag and a properly designed flag. But it's been interesting to see all these different people take a look at Pocatello and our community. There's one person who entered the contest, and they will actually be coming to Pocatello here in March. I invited him to City Hall, said, "Hey, stop by, say hi." I mean, that's great. One of the big ways we went out to the world with this effort was through Reddit. It's an online forum, and they have what's called subreddits, or individual forums for different topics. And one of them is vexillology, so flag design. So we put it out there, and when you go out online like that, you never really know what you're going to get. And sometimes in those anonymous environments, you can be stepping into a snake pit. It can be bad. But they embraced us. They thought it was great that we were coming to them and saying, "Look, we heard you, we understand you, now we want you to be a part of this as well." And I think it's been a great public relations campaign for the city. I think it's been a great advertising for the campaign for the city in just this little contest that has mushroomed into something much bigger.
Well, because of this, we interviewed a person for our Animal Services Director position who heard of Pocatello because of the flag and because of the design. It's crazy to see the people of the different people that we've attracted. I mean, it's exciting. I'm almost giddy about it. And to start with, I was like, come on, let it die down. Well, obviously, it's not going to die down if you've got 4 million plus votes.
Well, another anecdote along those lines is one of our committee members was traveling in the Boston area, and he was at a train station over there, was chatting with a gentleman there, and the committee member said he was from Pocatello, and the guy, "Oh yeah, you guys have the flag." It was right after CBS Sunday morning.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah, CBS Sunday Morning had come out or not come out. It was after they had aired their story back in September, and yeah, he knew about us and was now following the proceedings over this little community in Idaho and our little flag. And I mean, people think it's great. I'm with you completely. I totally thought this was a small thing, but no, it is a very huge thing. And to get 700 designs, I thought 100 we were going to be doing amazing and was just going to be ecstatic. But once those last final weeks started towards the end of the contest, and it was just going, and seeing them come in on email on the last day, it was almost just a constant ding. Here's a new email. It was a submission. I have to thank Ann Nichols in the mayor's office for her hard work. She's been the one responsible for cataloging these designs, making sure all the designs are in their proper category, getting them printed out, getting them to helping get those to the judges. I mean, she's bore the load of the huge clerical work for this and done an amazing job at it. If it wasn't for her help, we would be very bad off.
We would not be at the place we are today.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Still be trying to figure out how to organize these flags and these designs.
Yep.
It's neat. It's a neat thing. We started with an ad hoc committee. Logan has chaired that ad hoc committee, and I was surprised. We had 33 or 4 people apply for that ad hoc committee. We had, from that ad hoc committee, they took 709 flags and narrowed it down to 330 or something.
Right. So what we did is we got a panel of experts together. But before we got all these flags to them, we had 3 members of our ad hoc committee go through the flags and weed out the obvious ones that don't fit what we're looking for. Ones with text on them, too many colors, too complex. The ones that didn't follow the rules of good flag, obviously did not follow the rules of good flag design.
So should we talk about the rules? I mean, should we let people understand what the rules are of a good flag design?
Yep. Yeah, we can do that.
And who made those?
So those are from the North American Vexillological Association.
You can't saying
I know. I keep saying that in my head.
When he says
that. I know it.
It's taken practice. Words I didn't think I'd know.
Exactly.
But so the rules of good flag design. First, use 2 to 3 basic colors. You don't want a lot of color in your flag because, frankly, you're not going to see it. The other one, no lettering or seals. So if you have to write what your flag represents, then your symbolism, it's failed. So with that, also use meaningful symbolism. So you want things that mean something to your committee. You don't want to throw them up on the flag all haphazard. So the next one, so we've got letters, colors, symbolism. Be distinct. So you don't want to just be a generic flag. There's flags around the world that you see which are just the 3 bars of color. While it's emblematic of these places, I don't think it's necessarily unique. So or distinct. It's just the same flag with different colors.
Yeah.
So symbolism, lettering. Oh man,
you put him on the spot.
You did. No letter.
I think and I interrupted you in your train of thought, and I apologize for that, but I want people to understand why the flags that the experts and the expert panel has come up with are the way they are. Is literally the 3 big ones was no words, 3 no more than 3 colors, and you should be able to draw it
and then that's it right there. Simple. Keep it simple. So simple that a child can draw it from memory. So and honestly, I should have looked.
Yeah. Oh, you've got it right there.
Didn't need to do it all from memory, but yeah, keep it simple. You don't want a flag that is extremely complex.
Yeah.
There are exceptions to those rules, though. If you think about like the flag for the state of Maryland, fairly complex but hugely symbolic to the state of Maryland.
Sure.
So you can bend the rules here and there, but for the most part, that's what you want to stick with. So we weeded those ones out, and that number went from 709 to 330. So in that 330, even if it didn't necessarily follow those rules exactly perfectly, there were some that still made the cut and were forwarded on to the committee, or to the expert panel rather. From there, the expert panel, they were given those 330 and then asked to go through and pick the ones they liked. We asked for their top 10% or about 30 to 40 flags to bring with them to a meeting that we had last month in January.
Which they all came to Pocatello.
Yep.
So they could be in that meeting.
Yeah, we had folks. Imrai Larson, former Pocatello resident, now works in advertising and branding in New York City. He heard about this, came over to help out. A former teacher who now teaches in Utah, but also a former Pocatello resident, came up from Utah for this. We reached out to some other folks who were able to offer their input, but they weren't able to show up at the physical actual meeting date, but still were able to offer their help to us. We had John Hartvigsen. He's actually the president of the North American Vexillological Association. So, I mean, the head guy for flags was involved with this, and with that, he wasn't acting as a member of NAVA. He was acting as a flag expert. So do want to make that qualification. And then also our local advertising, branding, and history experts. We had folks from MSVM, Fishtail Creative, Rave Communications. We went out to our local experts in branding and design. We also had Paul Sivitz from ISU. He's a professor of history, because we wanted to understand the historical implications of any of these designs. So he was there just trying to get a well-rounded group of people together to weigh these designs and figure out what we can do with them going forward. So with that, they brought in their top 10%, between 30 and 40, and then we whittled it down to 19 from there. That it's not like those flags are perfect as they are right now. They're good, but they could all use some changes, and that was kind of the qualification from our experts. We like them, we like an element of them. There's one flag in there. It's kind of got an infamous reputation in the group now. They only like the shape of the mountains in that. What we saw in a lot of these flags were very, very pointy mountains, and people were thinking of the Tetons. Well, our mountains are a little more rolling, a little more gentle. This one flag has those mountains, nice, rolling, gentle mountains, versus very sharp, very jagged, sawtooth or Teton type mountains. So I guess with that, you want to see some of what we have.
I think it'll be exciting, because what's neat is I've seen just glimpses of them. I haven't seen the actual flags yet, and so it's interesting.
All right, so we got this first one here. This one actually came to us from a designer in New York State. So just to read off their symbolism word for word here, this designer says, the deep blue and hint of purple of the field is a nod to the state flag of Idaho, the distinct evening mountainscape of Pocatello, and the Portneuf River. The centerpiece, though simple in design, is complex in symbolism. The negative spaces form mountains, signifying the city's geography. The tribal-like design evokes the Native American influence of the region and abstractly represents the Shoshone's historical grass homes. The lines intersect and form crisscrossing railways and roads, representing the city's significance to trade and transportation in the northwest. The convergence of lines symbolizes the confluence of people, unity, and the city's multifaceted transportation capabilities.
There's a lot.
Did you get all that?
There's a lot in there.
Just by looking at that flag.
You know what? By looking at it, I can see some of that now that he's written that down. Obviously, he's taken some time. You can see it all after you understand what that is. That's
right. Once you see the symbolism, maybe
it looks so simple, but it's a complicated piece.
Right. It's lines and 3 colors.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So, go ahead and move on to the next one here. And with these flags, these aren't necessarily ones that are winners or anything like that at this point. These are just some ones that I randomly selected that showed some of the differences in design and what people were thinking on these. So this one here, this one actually came from Washington State, and both of these last two, they're from our professional category. So these are the professional graphic designers. This one says, Pocatello, also known as the gateway to the Northwest, with rolling mountains to the south and a growing population, the city aspires to live by the credo, work hard, play hard, and live well. The city is proud of their friendliness and hospitality. The concept behind the flag design uses mountains as a symbol for entry and foundation, serving as characteristics, pride, hope, and warmth trail across the sky while silhouetting the mountain range. So that one there.
You can see that too.
You can see the mountains in that, but again, simple design. This one does break some of the rules. Good flag design, though. It's got 4 colors on it.
Yeah.
So, but again, you can break those rules if for a reason, and then also if it works. And I think this one works.
It works. Yeah,
So.
I would agree.
All right, our next one, and these ones are from our 18 plus category. So adults who aren't necessarily professional designers, but have an interest in flags. So this is an international entry here. This one came from Ontario, Canada. So this design features a large white chevron followed by a blue chevron and a white chevron of equal size. The blue chevron symbolizes the Portneuf River, the white symbolizes unity, and the green symbolizes prosperity. Chevrons point forward to symbolize Pocatello's growing community. In the large white chevron sits a blue 8-pointed star, which symbolizes 8 important parts of Pocatello: the Indigenous era, the fur trade, the Oregon Trail, the Gold Rush, Pocatello Junction, U.S. Smile Capital, today and the future.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
all that.
So how in the world are we going to pick one?
How are we going to pick one? So what we're going to
I mean, I don't mean to interrupt your flow here.
No,
but
it's a good point to bring that up. So what we'll be doing is in March, the exact date's still being worked out, but we're going to put all 709 before the community and say, let us know what you like, don't like about these flags. So the expert panel, they've already got their 19 that they like in some form or another. We're going to put the whole thing out to the community in those 709. Take our public input and our expert input and put it together. Okay, so say these last 2 flags we looked at with the mountains and then the chevrons here. Say people really love the design of the mountain one, but they really love the colors of the chevron one. Take those 2 flags, combine them in some way. Again, we want to reiterate that we will be making sure to follow those rules of good flag design. Milwaukee's a famous, hate to throw them under the bus, but they're a famous example of design by committee. Too much stuff going on in that flag. It's not a good flag. It's a good logo or a piece for letterhead, but it's not a flag. So with that, we'll take that input and combine the flags together. Then we're going to put 10 back to the public of the combined flags, saying, okay, what do you like, don't like about these? From there, hopefully we've got one that we can present to you, the City Council, and say, here we go, using all this input, here's our flag, this is what we think.
This is what we like.
So, and go from there.
I think it's a great process because we want to include the community.
Right.
And we have included the community to this point. We want them to have an opportunity to have some input on the final outcome of it as well.
Right.
So.
It's ultimately, it's a community, it's a city flag. It's not the city as an organization or a municipal corporation's flag. This is a flag that should represent 55,000 people.
Absolutely.
So we're not going to be everything to everyone with that, though. Some people are going to love it, and I'm sure some people are going to hate it. But at the same time, this is Pocatello's flag.
Yep.
It would have been so easy to ignore this.
Oh, yeah.
They said something bad. You know what? That's not the real story. They don't know the real story. They don't know that it's not really a city flag or whatever excuse we wanted to make, and just ignore it. And it would have gone away, and in about now, nobody would even really remember. It would just be a sideline joke here and there.
Exactly.
But a few people took an honest effort to look at it and say, we can do something with this. Acknowledge our deficit that we had and come together and really do something. And it's things like this that pull communities together, groups together, especially people from very diverse backgrounds. That brings them and helps build that sense of community, that we're here together.
Well, Ted Kay, he's a vexillologist. He said, shouldn't cities, he gets asked the question that shouldn't cities have more important things to worry about? His counter to that is, if you have a good city flag, you have a banner under which to rally for those more important things. And I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. Yes, a city flag, it's just a flag, but again, it's also a banner. It's also something that people can take pride in. I mean, I really want a kid to have this tattooed on him in like 2 years. Right? To take that from Roman Mars, that's what he said, you'll have succeeded. You know, maybe I have to go get that tattoo or something. But yeah, if I get to see it, like to see a flag flying somewhere, you know, I mean, it's the city flag. And you look what it's done for cities like Chicago and Washington, D.C., Amsterdam and the Netherlands. I mean, those city flags mean a ton to those communities. I mean, in Chicago, police officers have their coffins draped in the Chicago flag, not the American flag, the Chicago flag for their funerals. It is that big of a deal. I don't know if we'll ever get to that point, but that's something to aspire to mean that much to people.
You mentioned the rallying around the flag or under the flag. Throughout history, for good and evil, you always have whatever group or country or whatever, they lead with their flag.
Yep, that's right. I was just going to say, flags throughout history, people have rallied behind and they've gotten with, and that's exactly right. So,
with that, we do want to get to a couple of Pocatello entries here.
All right.
So these ones, these come from Pocatello. So this first, well, actually that one, let's go ahead and skip that one. That one actually, if I remember, actually I don't remember where that one came from. That is out of state. There we go. Oh. That one right here. So this one is from a teenager here in Pocatello. So this is something done in-house, in town. Done in colored pencil or crayon, I'm not sure exactly which.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, that's a cool flag. So this one, the colors in my flag represent Pocatello because green is like the outdoors. Pocatello has a lot of outdoor activities, especially in the summer. I chose purple for the design because the opposite color on the color wheel is light green. Of light green is pinkish purple. So kind of a question of logistics and semantics on there. Did the triangle designs because they remind me of the tribal design and that Chief Pocatello was Shoshone. So
it's cool.
That one, and then the next one here. This is a Pocatello teenager, and this flag is a fairly simple design. It has a blue background representing prosperity, freedom, patriotism, and the sky over Pocatello. There are 3 overlapping triangles representing the 3 largest peaks around Pocatello: Scout Mountain, Chinese Peak, and Kinport. Triangles consist of a dark green color symbolizing the earth, agriculture, fertility, and the parks and forests around Pocatello. The outline of the triangles is white, representing peace and mountain snow during winter. The white 5-pointed star in the upper hoist corner, which is the top left corner, symbolizing Pocatello and a bright and prosperous future. So I mean, this is what...
This is a teenager here in town that is 2 of them that have gotten great and deep symbolism in their flags. That's incredible.
Oh, it is. And then we got another couple here. These ones are from just outside Pocatello. This is from a student in Chubbuck. If I can read my copy here. The golden part of the coloring is representing the golden crops, and my photocopy is not doing so well. If I were, just to go from memory on this one is talking about crossroads and all the things that come together in Pocatello. So it's a different take on everything. And one thing the expert panel liked about this one is how it's different, but it still represents what Pocatello is, a hub, and how so many different things come together in Pocatello. And now this one is from... this one is actually from New York, and this is one of those ones I was talking about where the mountains, they thought they were just a little too pointy. So maybe this is one we take those more rounded mountains, put them on this flag, and there's our flag. So this one, like I said, came from New York. And the title of the design is Mountain Overlook. It uses all 3 green, red, and yellow state colors. The mountains are supposed to symbolize the landscape of Pocatello. The blue is water, the green is grass, and the yellow is sky.
That's pretty.
I mean, this is a kid from New York who decided to look up our community, see what our community is about, and go from there. So
unbelievable.
And then we also had one. This one's from American Falls, so just outside of town here. Real simple on the symbolism portion of it. This flag represents Pocatello's railways, mountains, and bright sun overhead. So this was actually from our 1 to 6 category.
Wow.
Yeah. So
It's exciting to see what
Holy cow.
talent we have out there. And
then we've got one more here. This one is from Income, and this is again our 1 to 6 category. And their description is mountains and birds on a sunny day. Straightforward. But again, you know, you're thinking about a kid who's between 1 and 6 years old. What does Pocatello mean to them? They look around, mountains.
Mountains.
So,
obviously spent time in parks and stuff like that
Right.
where you've got birds and the sunny and nice. I mean, I think it's neat.
oh, it's amazing. Like we've already said, it's amazing to see the different interpretations and different perceptions on what Pocatello is.
Oh, yeah.
And to be frank, we only had 2 joke entries out of 709. When you go out to the internet, you never know what you're stepping into.
That's right.
And we only had two official joke entries that people submitted to us. So people took this contest very seriously and took the premise to heart. And what is Pocatello?
Well, I think that goes without say. I mean, when you look at all the countries, all the states that were represented, 709 entries, and the seriousness some of these people took, from the professional category on down to the 1 to 6 year old, how serious they literally took this to come up with a really good and neat flag. I think I love it.
Yeah. There's one entrant who submitted over 50 designs. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Different colors,
Different color, yeah, slight changes, you know, same base design, but different color combinations, different little tweaks here and there. Submitted them all in.
So I think it's important for the public to understand that when you do have an opportunity to look at all of these flags, find the ones that you like, and then look at the colors that you like. Just because you see it on a flag one certain color, maybe you would like that a different color.
Right.
Look at different colors with it and make those suggestions, because
Right.
it's I think it's neat to have the opportunity to make a decision on, okay, what color. I really like this design, but I really don't like the color blue. And just
Right.
saying that as an example, but I just don't like blue. So what happens if it's yellow, or what happens if it's red, and I think it's, you know, look at the different colors and mix a couple of the designs. If you like 2 different flags, mix them, see what it looks like.
Exactly, and that's what we're going for. We want that kind of input from people. You know, if someone says, "Love the design of 50, but don't like the colors," I love the colors of design 100.
Yeah.
Put those 2 together. That's my flag. Okay, that's good input. That's good quality input for us that we can use going forward. And when we start seeing patterns emerge, our one thing we've been really trying to emulate is the outreach effort of the Portneuf River Vision Study and how they got everyone's temperature on what the Portneuf River means to them.
Mm-hmm.
So we want that same level of input, same ideas. You know, what do you think it should be?
Sure.
Rather than just a straight vote, I want that one. More of, what does this mean? What do you see it being with different options and variations in front of you?
I hope that when this is all done, that there's kind of a wrap-up report, because I think there would be great interest around the world for people that vexillologists.
Nice job!
Yeah.
I didn't write that down.
That's
I've been
pretty
practicing
good.
for the last half hour.
I know.
That the process that we went through from, hey, you're the worst, to actually coming up with something that we can be proud of, that we can, we have ISU flag that on game days, they're in everybody's yards in town. I'd like to see the Pocatello flag in everybody's yard in town.
Exactly.
And so I think, maybe I'd be the only one that would buy the book, but I think something like that we could present to the world that says, this is what we did.
That's a good idea.
To be honest, we're standing on the shoulders of some folks in Oregon. So there was an effort years back in Oregon to change their state flag. So what they did was they went through this process of soliciting designs, getting public input, yada, yada, yada. Similar to what we've done. We've pretty well taken their ideas to the next step. Their failure was that they didn't have government buy-in. So when they got to the end, the state said, thanks, but no thanks. We don't need to to deal with this. So we've done this one's been done a little bit in reverse, in that, all right, the city's already bought into this, we're going to do it, so we've already crossed over the hurdle that they stumbled on.
Yeah.
So, but very, very similar to what they've done, you know, even down to the size of the design that had to be submitted. And we were extremely stringent on that 3x5 or 300 by 500 pixels for online and electronic entries. We were very, very stringent on that. If you did not submit it in the right format, we sent it back to you, said thanks, but get it into a format we can use. And so, you know, it's been interesting to see, and you know, even some of the things I didn't think would be a problem that were issues that we faced just in logistical stuff of making sure people submitted the right size design, things like that. I mean, it's been a learning process for sure, but yeah, it's been fascinating at the same time.
It has been fun. Been fun to watch the process work.
So.
And talk about a great opportunity for our community to be involved. I mean, literally be involved with their government and be a part of it and a part of the change is neat. They don't, a lot of times people feel like the government just doesn't listen to them. And it took two citizens to say we need to do something before we said, okay, we'll put an ad hoc committee together, okay, we'll do this. And it was, like I say, I'm just completely blown away with the response we've had, so it's neat.
It's something to be proud of, I think.
I think so. And I think you will see the flag flying over people's houses, and so I know I'll own one.
What?
Yep.
I know I'll have one.
One consideration that the committee's been looking into is making the design open source. So what that means is, here you can have the design, remix it, do what you will with it. So like the city of South Bend, Indiana just went through a flag redesign effort, and they open sourced their flag design, even offering up the different files and file formats for people to play with and use. It's now on coffee cups, shirts, you know, jackets, that sort of thing, in all these different iterations. So I mean, it's at that point, it truly becomes the city's or the community's flag, and lets them run with it. And I think that's definitely an idea worth exploring, rather than being extremely stringent on where it's applied. Let the community decide where they want it to be applied and go from there. There are some inherent risks with that, but at the same time, I think
at the same time, it's their design.
Right, it's their flag. It's the residents' flag. It's the citizen flag.
Well, and they've bought into it, and they have ownership in it. It's neat. It's a good process. You've done a great job with this, Logan. I mean, really, truly, have done a great job, and it's not been easy. I know that. It's taken a lot of time, but hopefully, when do we hope to have it wrapped up, or do we have a time frame that we hope to have it wrapped up?
Our hope is the spring.
Okay.
So that's kind of a wide window, to be honest.
Sure.
So with the display looking to go up in March, and then it's kind of how quickly can we turn this other stuff around. In my head, I think maybe June would be about the time that we get it completed and a new flag and whatnot. So that's kind of what I have in my head. That doesn't mean it's not going to change. So if, you know, if it comes back and we got to go back for an additional round of input at some point.
Well, I don't want to hold you to that drop dead date. That's one thing for sure. But to me, it's amazing how fast the process has moved along as well. So it really has moved along pretty fast. I didn't think we would be where we are right now. I thought it would be May or June before we were to this point.
So I can see it hanging from the rafters of Holt Arena.
There you go.
Great big one.
That's right. Well, Logan, thank you very much for everything you've done. And I would encourage everybody in our community, when we have the opportunity, let's look at it. Take it and play with it and give us your input so that we know what everybody's thinking. We saw a very few number of flags here with a lot of symbolism, and I'm pretty confident that a lot of people can look at those same ones and get more symbolism out of it, and that's the flag that we want. That's
Right.
what we want.
You want people to be able to read in their own
Absolutely.
interpretation of it.
Absolutely. So thank you very much.
Makes it their own.
Yep. Thank you.